Welcome to Watch Cozy. Today we're tackling something that sounds, well, pretty fundamental. How to actually get what you want.
Mm.
And it seems to boil down to this surprisingly uh, powerful idea. Just asking.
Yeah, just ask. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it?
It does. But we're going to explore, the different sides of this and see if it really holds the key, maybe without overcomplicating things.
Exactly, because that starting point, ask, it's presented as like the essential first step, kind of the on switch for getting what you desire.
Okay, the on switch. I like that. So let's unpack it a bit.
Yeah.
The idea is that asking isn't just, being polite.
Right.
It actually kicks off a whole process, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, it sort of initiates the receiving part. Think of it like pushing the start button on some big machine.
Yeah.
You've got to trigger the action to get the result.
Okay. And there's this distinction made, isn't there, between people who study the roots forever versus those who actually, pick the fruit.
Precisely. Which connects to this other big idea. The capacity to receive is, well, almost always there. The real bottleneck often isn't a lack of opportunities out there. It's more often our own failure to just ask, to actually state what we want.
Right, like the example, the person working really hard, putting in all the hours.
Yeah.
But they don't have clearly defined goals. They haven't really asked for anything specific.
Exactly. So the effort is there, but it's kind of undirected. That intentional asking part is missing. Hard work isn't quite enough on its own.
That leads to the whole idea about resources, right? The ocean analogy.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful one. The opportunities, the resources, they're plentiful, like an entire ocean.
So the problem isn't the ocean being empty.
Not at all. The issue is framed as the size of our container, what we bring to the ocean.
The teaspoon versus the bucket.
That's the one. Are you showing up with a teaspoon hoping to get a lot, or have you brought a bucket ready to receive more?
That image really, it hits home. It makes you think, am I underestimating what's possible just because my ask is too small? My bucket is too small.
It's a good question to ask ourselves, and this ties into the two key ways to ask effectively that are suggested.
Okay, what are they?
Well, first, ask with intelligence.
Intelligence, meaning?
Meaning clarity, specificity, really defining what you want. How wide, how high, how soon, all the details.
So not just, I want more money, but I want a specific raise of X amount by this date.
Exactly. Or I want this kind of role in this industry. Well-defined goals, the idea goes, act like a magnet. They have pulling power.
Okay, makes sense. Be specific. What's the second way?
The second way is to ask with faith.
Faith. Okay, tell me more.
This is about tapping into a childlike belief.
Yeah.
That sort of unwavering confidence that it's possible to get what you're asking for.
So cutting through the adult cynicism, the skepticism that tends to creep in.
Pretty much. We tend to doubt, to overthink. This is about embracing a simpler, more confident expectation.
So the formula is kind of plan like an adult, but believe like a child.
That's a great way to put it. Combine that practical, specific planning with a really optimistic, almost naive conviction. It's presented as a really potent mix.
Strategy and belief working together.
Yeah.
And then there's a challenge, right? To actually try this.
Yes, a practical challenge. Give this approach a go for, say, 90 days. Ask with intelligence. Ask with faith.
And the point is, you can always go back to your old habits if it doesn't work.
Exactly. Nothing lost by trying. But you might be surprised. The underlying message is that, the world responds to action, to people actually doing things, putting their intentions out there.
Okay. So thinking about all this, what really stands out to you about just, asking?
For me, it's how empowering it feels to think the main barrier might just be us not asking clearly or not truly believing it's possible. It puts a lot of control back in our hands, potentially.
Yeah, I agree. It flips the script from it's hard to get things to maybe I haven't asked properly.
And consider the implications, if that really is the biggest hurdle. Just not articulating it clearly and holding on to that belief.
It definitely makes you think about that ocean analogy again. Where might you, the listener, be showing up with a metaphorical teaspoon when there's a whole ocean of possibility?
Yeah, that's the reflection point, isn't it?
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about one thing you genuinely want. Just one thing.
Yeah, and then consider how could you ask for that, maybe in the next few days. using both that clear, intelligence-specific approach.
And adding in a dose of that real, genuine, almost childlike faith.
Exactly. See what happens.